I always knew it was important for me to find a significant other who would want to spend holidays together. That's very important to me, and I wouldn't have been in a relationship with somebody who didn't share that value or who couldn't get on the same page about that value. Now, just because that's my opinion for my life does not mean that it's the opinion I hold for other people's lives. I know people who don't spend who don't spend holidays with their significant other because they each want to be with their families. And if they both decided that that's how they want to do things and it works for them, great. The most important thing you got to do in a relationship is decide what works for both of you. Separate from your families. It has to work for both of you. And it's hard when both families are needy, as you say here. It's really funny that you mention this now because my Hello Hayes letter that I wrote and published this week was all about, the writer identifies as a peacekeeper in her family. She's not in a relationship yet, but she worries, if I'm unable to set boundaries in my family, is that going to ruin a romantic relationship one day? She asked me that question. And, my letter's long and very nuanced and there's lots of stuff in there. But there was a paragraph I wrote that kind of addresses this that I ended up cutting from the piece because it just wasn't working. But I'm going to read it to you. So she said there are some things that she's not willing to address for the sake of keeping the peace. And is that a bad thing? And I was going to write to her, ultimately, I think it depends on what kinds of things you're not willing to address and whether the person you're seeing is on the same page about those things. For example, I believe in spending holidays with my significant other. As a kid growing up, we didn't always spend holidays together as a family, and it became something that was really important for me to do. My husband is on the same page with me on that, and he has been on the same page with me that for most of our 10-year relationship. We started switching off Thanksgiving about 2 years into our relationship. We didn't live together yet, but it was something that we did together. I don't think I'd be happy with a partner who said to me, hey babe, my family's gonna have a conniption if I don't spend Thanksgiving with them every year, so I need to do that because I'm not willing to cause a fight about it. A person who feels that way and would say that kind of thing might not be wrong, but they would most certainly be wrong for me. This is always about finding a partner who is compatible for you. So I ended up cutting that because it didn't work in the larger piece, but I feel like it's relevant here. Before imagining how you guys deal with your families and how you communicate with each of your needy families, the two of you together decide what's going to make most sense. Is it going to make most sense that you switch off every year? That you always do Thanksgiving with one person's family and you spend another holiday with the others? I have found a lot of success with switching off, though actually it's kind of complicated because my parents are divorced. So as I've gotten older, there's holidays are hard. And even with switching off, we've had to become even more flexible. Like last year, Brian and I spent Thanksgiving in LA. So we actually skipped a year with families. The two of us make the decision together. And then we communicate that decision. We don't really ask how other people feel about it. I address other people's feelings, hopefully, by making sure that we're there for something else and having time for FaceTimes and phone calls and telling people that we miss them. But it's not like, is that okay with you? There's no coddling going on.